Good afternoon. Welcome to our XLab presentation for CertShare version 2, second phase of the project. I am Professor Youngjin Yu, Faculty Director of XLab at Case Western Reserve University. Our students have been working on this project sponsored by Hyland Software last 2 semesters. So what you will be about to see is their work mostly that they completed this semester. This project began last semester with a single goal of showing a feasibility of integrating block search from Hyland and personal data account from Dataswift, another strategic partner of XLab. And then this semester, students also wanted to show that it is possible to share block search using Dataswift infrastructure in a privacy-preserving way so that the student can share their block search with the university who maintains their dashboard. So I'm going to invite our students onto our screen and we will ask them to make a presentation. So we have 4 of them on screen and Bailey will begin the presentation. Bailey?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for watching our presentation today. We've really enjoyed working with Hyland so far, and we really value this partnership. And we're super excited to present on everything we've done thus far. So I'm going to start by introducing myself. My name is Bailey Kaplan. I've focused on the user experience and user interface design on this project. On this call, we also have Ryan, who was our project manager, and some of our software developers too. So we have Ishan, Lucas, and Omar as well. And we worked under the guidance of Dr. Youngjin Yu and Dr. Ermin Ade, who are CWRU professors. So I'm going to begin by talking about one of our personas. Our first persona is a transfer student. Her name is Barbara. She's a third-year undergraduate at Case Western Reserve University, but she recently studied abroad in Singapore. And they issued transcripts as a digital block cert record. So now she's applying to graduate schools, and she has 2 transcripts, one from Case Western and one from Singapore, and she has to figure out how to get them to her graduate schools. So this is a bit of a complex situation, and she wants to have secure, independent storage and easy access to her verifiable credential certifications in a user-friendly way. So now I'm going to pass it off to Ishan to talk a little bit more about what this persona means for the product.
Thank you, Bailey. So there were a couple of problems which we identified based upon this persona, and I'm going to start with the first problem, which was managing of credentials. So as you can see, when Barbara went to study abroad, and now she's want to apply to grad school, she would need to request her transcript from her international school. And as many of you might know, issuing of transcripts and such documents from your institution is generally a slow process. It's generally a manual process, and it could take from few weeks to a couple of months. So the first problem is definitely it's a very slow process. Secondly, once these documents are issued, the lack of verifiability comes into the picture because as we might have heard, a lot of those documents can be easily tampered with, and it's very difficult for for institutions to actually verify the documents submitted by students or their employees to actually check whether they are genuine or not. Thirdly, we this wasn't in the case of Barbara, but had Barbara studied in a place which had a different language than English, then language barrier would have come into the picture because her transcript would not have been in English or her home place language, and that might have been an issue considering she wants to apply to a grad school in an English speaking country. Finally, as we know, the process is slow, and it involves, and since it's kind of manual process, it involves costs. And to solve all these 4 problems, Highland developed and came up with this innovative technology called block certs. So block certs is an open source technology for issuing, verifying, and managing digital records based which are anchored on blockchain. So to easily manage these kind of block certs, Highland also developed a block cert wallet app. and it's an Android iOS app which helps the users to store these block certs on their own device, and they can easily manage, share with through emails or Bluetooth or whatever, and they kind of hold these digital records on their devices. But that poses another problem for the users, because considering these are confidential records, and if you lose your device, you don't want to lose, you might lose these kind of confidential records. Having a secured storage is a very important question. So couple of problems in that line is having a privacy preserving storage, because you're storing this block cert, in Barbara's case, her transcript through block cert wallet app on her phone, on her device, and ideally she'd like to store it at a place on a on cloud service, which can preserve the privacy of her transcript, so that nobody else has any sort of access to that, even the company providing that technology of storage. Secondly, as you might have known, whenever Barbara would need to send her transcript, not to her for future grad school, but to her future employees, she would have to come back to this international school, request her transcript again to be sent to the next institution. So generally, you lose the ownership of these kind of confidential records, which kind of messes the entire process of requesting and receiving and then verifying and all those problems. So having a storage where you can store these kind of records and own and actually own these them, uh, they're actually owned by you, is a very important problem. Finally, as you start owning these records, you actually want to able to control them too, so that you can control whom you want to send these documents to, what for what period of time, and to what extent the person or the institution should have access to your records. And considering all these problems, Dataswift came up with their innovative personal data accounts. Personal PDAs or personal data accounts are an innovative decentralized storage, which allows the users to store any sort of documents or records or anything which are completely and legally owned by the user. So now we came up with a secured storage, and we have a block cert wallet app which allows the users to actually manage their block certs, transcripts, or any records in a very user friendly way. And the final thing is kind of integrating these two things. So as part of this project this semester, we worked on integrating this uh, personal data accounts provided by Dataswift with the Hyland's BlockCert wallet app. This was a very important thing, because, as I mentioned, BlockCert wallet app is based upon on-device storage, and you might not users might not want to store their confidential records like transcript on a on device, which they might lose in the future. So as as a as part of this project, we implemented that whenever a user comes uses the BlockCert wallet app, he or she has the option to actually store these kind of records directly in his her PDA, which is legally and completely owned by them.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce our second persona, which is Darlene, who is an admissions counselor at the Ohio State University. So she works with prospective graduate students from the southern U.S. And the main threat that she faces as someone dealing with university transcripts is the possibility that those academic files could be tampered with. So while this might not happen all the time, it's certainly possible, and it has happened before. And as someone dealing with transfer students wanting to transfer their credits to a new university, it's important that this process um, is done safely and that it can be verified. So to summarize, Darlene needs a way to seamlessly receive tamper-free documents from high school students or transfer students from other universities in a way that doesn't disrupt her workflow. So to highlight the three problems she faces, it's transcript verification, workflow integration, and transcript ownership. And the solution that we propose is CertShare, which offers the ability for students and university administrators to interact in a way that allows students to verifiably share their transcripts or other credentials with the university, and then for those university administrators to approve or decline the shared transcripts in a way that uh, that that allows them to trust the credentials that the student has shared. So the process begins with the student. They use the BlockCerts wallet app to request from a university that they want to share. So this would typically happen after they've have started the application process, and either through the university's website or maybe an email that they receive from the university, that they would have a QR code or some kind of text that they would type into the app in order for them to request and be authorized to share their transcript. So, assuming that they've been approved by the university to share, then the next part is the actual sharing. So they will retrieve the block cert from their personal data account and share that with the university. So, from the perspective of the student, the sharing process is done, and it's a matter of waiting for the university to make a decision. So, looking at the university dashboard, we have two components. There's a server, which is what the mobile BlockCert wallet app will actually communicate with. And there's the website, which is the UI dashboard that university administrators would use. So after the student shares a BlockCert, the server immediately stores that BlockCert into the university's personal data store. In practice, this personal data store would actually be what's called an organizational data store that Dataswift is actively working on. But for the purposes of this demo, we also use a personal data store for the university. So then once the university admin signs on to the dashboard, they would receive any block certs that are stored in the personal data store, and then they could carry on with their workflow as usual. So whenever the last component here is notifying the student about certain events. So for this demo, we have two events that it's been viewed and whether or not it's been approved or declined. So I'll hand it over to Bailey to actually show the UI in practice.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, so we're going to begin by focusing on the BlockCert wallet app. So it'll open onto this welcome screen, and then you'll end up in the app itself. So we're going to skip a few steps here and just head straight to what's new. But in this example, you are the student and you get a QR code from your institution that you're submitting the transcript to. So you go ahead and you scan the QR code, and your transcript already automatically gets sent. In this example, it's going to the University of Michigan. So if you want to view this submission, you can. That shows you what you just sent. And this is an example where everything has gone right, but there are a series of error messages that you could run into at this step. So the first one is your submission was unsuccessful due to the wrong QR code. And all of the error messages prompt for you to try resubmitting the certificate. And then if that issue persists, to contact your issuer. So this was wrong QR code. This error is you're using the wrong block cert. This one is your submission failed to be verified. And this is just a more generic error message of your submission being unsuccessful. But if we go back to that use case where the transcript has been sent successfully, then it is on the university to complete the receiving end of it. So in here, the university rejects it for one reason or another. Once again, it asks you to resubmit it. And if the problem persists, to contact the issuer. But if it goes right, you'll get this screen saying your submission has been successfully accessed by the University of Michigan, and you're good to go in this situation. So that concludes the BlockCert Wallet app UI. Now we're going to take a look at the university dashboard UI as well. So this is on the university end of things. You can input your username and password and then click continue. And you can see the series of requests over here on the left. So you can view the specific transcript by clicking on it, and then it populates on your main screen. You can also sort them if you find that would be helpful to do. If you want to verify, so to make sure it's an accurate transcript, you can click verify and it'll pop up with verification successful or verification failed. And once you've done that, it gives you the ability to approve the transcript. So if you approve it, you can then cancel it if you realize you don't actually want to approve it, or you can continue on with the request approval process. And if you want to deny it, you will just hit deny and then deny again, and it'll end up in an email notification. This could be a text notification or some other form of notification. But for now, we have it integrated with email. So I'm going to pass it back to the technical team and Sean to take us through our other demo.
Thank you, Billy. So let me pull this up. So welcome to the BlockCert Wallet app, and here I have running the emulator for the wallet app. Before we dive in, just to clarify, the BlockCert Wallet app is based upon the SQLite database, and whenever a user imports a BlockCert, it's usually stored on device. So to solve this problem, as we identified in our problems scenario before, we have integrated Dataswift provided personal data accounts. So the user can easily import the block cert, and the wallet app would send those block certs directly into his or her personal data accounts, which are authenticated by the user. So let's see how this entire thing looks like. So this is the home screen of the BlockSet Wallet app. And I'm going to go to the settings and add credential, import from file, choose file. And I already have a BlockSet stored for the demo purposes. So let's import this thing. And let's see. Yeah, so here we are. We have the beautiful block cert in its visual form. And as you can see, it has been issued by the state of Texas, Secretary of State. And this is not, this hasn't been tampered with. So it's all verified and everything is good with the certificate. So as part of the initial original implementation of the BlockCert Wallet app, there were three buttons. The info for the information of this BlockCert, like looking at its issuer and all those details. Verify, so to actually click this button and see if this certificate has been is tampered or hasn't been tampered. And finally, the share button, which allows the user to actually send this BlockCert to over an email to someone, save it to the drive, or send it through via Bluetooth. As part of this semester's project, we have implemented the CertShare button, and with the click of this button, the user can easily send this block cert to his university via a QR code scan, and the block cert would reach to the university and would be visible on the dashboard there. So before we dive into the sharing feature, I'm going to send this to Lucas, who's going to talk about the university dashboard, and then we can come back to this thing. So over to you, Lucas.
All right. Thank you, Sean. So for the next part of technical demo would be the university dashboard, which is the platform where the university would sign in with their credentials and view all of the block certs that are being sent from students, and then decide whether or not they wanted to approve or deny said block certs. Well, first, here you can see the login page of the university dashboard, which includes a username input. Obviously, but here you can input whatever username that it belongs to university, but here we use our development username, and it would lead you to an authorization page to put in the password, and then after you put the password in, it would lead you to the main page of the university dashboard. In here, we design it in a way that is similar to the typical like like mail applications like Gmail, Apple Mail, things like that, where the items would be listed on the left side. And when you click on an item on the left side, the content of that item is going to show on the middle panel. And on the right side, there are buttons to um, perform set actions such as refresh, verify the block cert, review the block cert that's being viewed, and then approve or deny. As you can see now here, since there's no block cert being sent into the university data storage, there's nothing being shown, and we can show that right here. In the universal data viewer, there's no data in there. So now I will pass it back to Ishan to initiate the sharing process from the student side. Ishan?
Thank you, Lucas. So back to the screen, back to the where we left off. Now I'm going to click the search share button and have this block cert be sent to the university dashboard, which Lucas just presented. So let's go. So as you can see, it's going to make a post request to my PDA, fetch the block cert, and then actually send it back. And look at that, the block cert was successfully shared. And now I'm going to pass it to Ryan, who's going to talk about the background of the server and stuff. So over to you, Ryan.
Thanks, Ashan. So I'm using this tool called ngrok, which essentially allows for my computer to act as a real server so that Sean and Lucas's computers can talk to mine. So we can see that this is the share request that Sean has sent through the BlockCert wallet app. And we can see all of the text over here is the actual BlockCert content itself. The fact that this request has been successful means that the BlockCert was also stored in the dashboard PDA. So I will hand it over to Lucas to look at the dashboard.
All right, thank you, Ryan. So since the sharing process has been completed, now if we go back to the universal data viewer, we can see the few items that's been created in here in the CertShare namespace, which indicates that there are new data that came in. And now when we click on the refresh button, we should see the item that was shared from Ishan on the left panel here with the just like very generic information such as name, email. When you click on it, you can see the content of said item is the same as the one that you saw from the mobile app. Let's go up and down and see, making sure everything is correctly. From here, we can verify whether or not the block cert is accurate, and since we know that it's accurate, we can double check that, and this verification is passed. It means that the block cert is verified. And now what we want to do is notifying the student that we, as a university, has reviewed the document. So now when I click on the review button, it said that this transcript has been reviewed, then notification has been sent. So when the request has been made, Ryan would receive it on his side of the server, and then I'll pass it on to him in order to see what it looks like on that side.
All right, so we see that the server has received the notify request from the dashboard, and the two pieces of information here that are relevant is this notified field, which would contain the student's email. So in this case, this is Ashan's email. And then the message represents the actual email contents. So I'll hand it over to Ashan to see the real email.
Thank you, Ryan. So here's my inbox, and as you can see, I have an unread email at 1:42 p.m. So I'm going to open it up. It's from certshare.dev@gmail.com, and it says the block set was reviewed. So yeah, I received the notification, Ryan, and I pass it back to Lucas for the university dashboard approval.
All right. So thank you, Sean. After the review email's been sent, now as the university, you wanted to either approve or deny this transcript. And since we've seen that this transcript is again verified, we wanted to go ahead and approve it. So now when you click on the approve button, and there would be an alert saying that whether or not you actually want to approve the transcript or whether or not were you just like misclicking it or anything like that. And if you could cancel, nothing would happen. It would cancel out the action. But if you do approve the transcript, it will send another request to Ryan's server to notify the student via email that their transcript has been approved. And then now when we refresh the page again, yeah, the request has been gone. And then I'll pass it to Ryan and see what happens in the back end after the approve button has been clicked.
So similar to the last notification, we see that a notification has been sent to Sean's email, just with a different message saying that it was approved. So Sean, we'll see that. Let's see the real email.
Sure. So as you can see, I have the same inbox, and I received an email at 1:44 p.m. just now, and it says block cert was approved. So yeah, my block cert was approved, my transcript is good, and that concludes our technical demo for this project. So now move back to our presentation real quick and just talk about some of the last few pieces. So as you can see, we identified some next steps when we worked and concluded the project last semester. And part of those were credential sharing, increased value proposition, and some other things. This semester, we have achieved successfully sharing of credential as we just demoed, and increasing the value proposition of the entire project by having more functionalities and a better UI, not on the user side as a student, but also for the university side by having a better university dashboard specifically customized for the universities. Um, Down the line for the future, we have some of the next steps which we have are hosting the application. So we'd like to host this university dashboard as a web application, and also push the code for wallet app which we worked on this semester to the open source repo managed by Hyland. We would also like to explore other use cases and industries. For example, in the healthcare industry, the medical records for the patients are an interesting and very confidential records. And having this kind of infrastructure based upon the project which we worked on over these 2 semesters would really add value, not only what we achieved, but also for this project. Finally, as you might have noticed, we used extensively the personal data stores provided by Dataswift. But from the user standpoint view, a user might want to store certain documents on certain personal data accounts, and he might want to diversify his personal data stores. So having the ability of on our not only on the wallet app but also on the university admin to have to connect with different types of personal data accounts provided by different organizations would really add value for both sides, not only for the university admin but also for the user on the wallet app. So that concludes our presentation for this project, and I'd like to bring my entire team who worked extensively and put a lot of efforts over the entire semester. And yeah, we had a great time working on this project, and Professor Youngjin Liu and Erminade were a great resource, great guidance for the entire project, and we're really grateful working on with Hyland team and the Dataswift on this project.
All right, guys, that was great. Thank you again. This is all we have prepared. There's still a lot more work to be done. We are going to wrap up the code and clean it up and do some documentations. And we will soon share the entire the code base repo with the Highland team. And we hope that this collaboration will continue. And this project, the wallet app that has extension of PDA integration, and block cert sharing feature can we hope will be open source so that others can improve the technology and create more user base for this wonderful CertShare application, enterprise application and service. And certainly, I hope that universities like Case Western will begin to embrace innovative solutions like this that will remove a lot of unnecessary frictions in the admission processes and so on. So with that, I'd like to thank our students. My colleague, Erman Ade, one student who could not join today because of his personal situation, Omar, who also worked very closely with our student, the rest of the team, and then also our mentor, industry mentor, Lauren Nelson, who also could not join us because she virtually lost her voice due to her some infections with her voice. So, but I'd like to thank all of them and my staff at XLab, as well as sponsors and our collaborators at Hyland Software. So, thank you, and it was wonderful. We'll see you next semester.